Katie, Girl About Library, here today with my December TBR. Is it almost the middle of the month? Yes. Have I finished a single book? No, I haven't. There's so much to look at and do this month besides books, and I just have not been reading. But I have some books that I'm excited about, and I want to share them with you, and hopefully by doing that, I will feel a personal responsibility to actually read them. The first book on my list is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Who has book club on Sunday and still hasn't read the book? Everyone wants to be in a book club, but no one wants to actually do the part where you read it. When we picked this book, I was so excited, and I'm still very excited to read this book. I've been switching between the audiobook and the actual book on my Kindle, and I'm loving it. It's amazing to me how close it is to the movie because I was not expecting that. If you haven't seen the Little Women movie with Susan Sarandon and Claire Danes and Winona Ryder and Christian Bale, you should, because it is perfect for this time of year. And 12-year-old Katie, Christian Bale is a terrible person, just generally not great, but 12-year-old Katie did not know this, and she developed some very strong feelings for Theodore Lawrence that remain to this day. Little Women follows the story of the March family. Joe, Meg, Beth, and Amy. The four girls and their mother live in, I think, Boston. It's during the Civil War. Their father is off in the Civil War acting as a pastor, and so they're at the home by themselves, just being adorable. Each of the sisters has a very unique personality. I feel like the story really draws you into them and their lives and falling in love with them. And it's just that much more sad when you know what's coming, if you know what's coming. Their lives and stories also intertwine with the neighbors, whether they're sick and they need help or they need food. And then Theodore Lawrence, who lives next door and is just such a dreamboat. When I started Little Women, I figured it was going to be about the same size as The Christmas Carol for some reason. I just thought it was a shorter book because I just thought it was a shorter book than it actually is. Maybe because of the movie. It is not short. It is 450 pages long, and those 450 pages must be full of text because it feels a lot longer than that as I'm reading. Part of that might be because I know what's going to happen, and I don't reread books very often, and this very much feels like a reread. I've seen the movie at least a dozen times. I'm very familiar with the story, and so as I'm going through, the parts that I recognize, I'm enjoying, but then the extra parts that aren't in the movie, it's not like I'm reading it and thinking, oh, why didn't they include this? It's kind of like, okay, I totally see why this got cut. It is very cozy, it is very Christmas, and this girl has 2 days to finish most of it, so I should really be reading right now. I'm also reading Once Upon a River by Diane Setterfield. She's famous for writing The 13th Tale, which was amazing and I really enjoyed it. It was written about 10 years ago though, so it's been a long time since she's published a book. This is the first book she's published since then, and I'm really enjoying it, but it also feels very, very long. This book is almost 500 pages as well, and it's just, I'm not good at long books. I get really into the drudgery of reading them. This book is historical fiction. It takes place in the 1800s, and the story starts in a bar that is along this river. One night, a man holding a young girl walks into the bar and then collapses. They start taking care of the man. He's breathing, but he's unconscious, but they find that the young girl is dead. The girl miraculously revives, and everyone is completely shocked by this happening. She's mute. No one knows who she's supposed to be with. The man who was unconscious regains consciousness and can't explain kind of how he came to be with her. And to complicate matters, there's multiple families who believe that they have claim to this young girl. Of course, this is before genetics testing. They can't 23andMe and find out whether or not it's actually their daughter. There's definitely an element of magical realism in this book, which is something I personally struggle with as a reader. I don't usually enjoy that, but I have absolutely no problem with it in this book. I think when magical realism is used to grapple with grief, that's the one time where I give it a pass and I can do it and sometimes actually enjoy it. This book is so well written, it's very atmospheric, it pulled me right in, but because it is longer and because I have been struggling to find time to read this month, I'm still feeling like it's taking me forever to get through it. But I know once I find the time to read, I'm going to finish this book and love it. I would also love in the month of December, if I could get my act together, to read A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. The Heart's Invisible Furies was one of my absolute top reads of 2018. That's a video for another time, but it is just such a good book. I'm a little worried that this character is going to be harder to connect with than the character in The Heart's Invisible Furies, but the reviews on Goodreads have been so good for this book so far. It also has over 4 stars. This book follows a writer named Maurice, and apparently Maurice is just like a terrible person. He's also a terrible writer, but he's very charming. Because he is so charming, he makes connections with this other famous writer, learns his life story, and then co-opts that to be his novel. He's doing it without the famous writer's permission to use his life as a novel, and I think things get pretty messy from there. But because Maurice is willing to do anything to become famous for his writing, he just continues to climb that social ladder and does terrible things to other people along the way. This guy sounds like the worst. Definitely that like unlikable main character thing going on here. And I haven't read a book I enjoyed with an unlikable main character in ever. I don't think I've ever read a book with an unlikable main character that I enjoyed. But if anybody can do it, John Boyne can do it. So I am excited to start that one as well. Last on this list, and possibly like highest priority, is Daisy and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't read Evelyn Hugo yet. Let's just get that out of the way first. I haven't read any Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I really want to. I started Evelyn Hugo and then life happened and I put it down, and I know. I need to get back to that. Maybe that's the book I should be reading this month. And this book as well has amazing reviews in Goodreads so far. I have an early edition of it. I'm so excited to read this book. This novel follows a fictionalized band called Daisy and the Six. They broke up at the height of their popularity, and so this book is kind of like a docu-series book that follows their rise to fame and what happened once they got there. This book could be so good, and the reviews make it sound like it is. I love the idea of this book, and so if I can finish a single book this month and it's also Taylor Jenkins Reid, that would be neat. And that's it, folks. Those are the 4 books that I would like to read in the month of December, but December is always my worst reading month. Always. I've already reached my Goodreads reading goal, which is like my reading kryptonite, but I'm also going to be out of town for a good chunk of December and January, and so it's just, we're getting by. I have about 11 hours of Little Women to read / listen to before Sunday, which is in 2 days. Happy holidays. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more bookish content. Have a great day. Bye.